This is the book of Second Ezra, beginning chapter 9, beginning at verse 1, and it reads, He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Verse 3, Therefore when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. Verse 5, For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. I want to start off by giving all praises, all honor, and all glory to called Loyim, La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahushai, Ba Hashem Rachak. I want to give double honors to my apostles and to my elders, the men of Great Millstone, the elder apostles of Great Millstone, who teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth for faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives, as well as their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwat and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord willing, this is an edifying lesson. To the hopeful elect, Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, in the land of other nations appearing like the other nations. In the land of other nations appearing like the other nations, but whom subscribe to this truth. To you I say Shalom. This is the brother Yawasap out of the GMS Cleveland Church, a fellow servant coming at you with another lesson through the spirit and through the power of Yahweh Shem Shai. And basically, was on my news break app looking for an article to go into. Came across this article, and it's the spirit because I was just listening to the brother whose channel is Bakwara Mouth, the brother from Men of Valor, and that brother been on fire. He did like 3 or 4 videos. He just going into different stuff about how pretty much this government, and I agree, I wholeheartedly agree, because when you see what this government is doing, they're not even really putting forth effort to create any more stimulus, because they already understand, right, this is the tightness season. That's why you got quantitative tightening. You had quantitative easing, and now you got quantitative tightening, which is the procedure they're doing to raise interest rates. So, you people that's awaiting another stimulus, no, that's probably not going to happen. I think this is going to be, I'm speaking as a man, but I think they're going to let the system crash out, because he was basically looking at, he was being circumspect, and he was looking at the verbiage that Biden was using. And he's talking about, a new economy and different wordplay he was using. And he was bringing up the fact that if you have an economy in place, to create a new one, you would have to do something with the existing one. So, again, he was like, he was doing it to the Biden's administration and how they were saying how, I think that was the brother, Amawan Gabar, the elder brother, Amawan Gabar. I can't remember. But nonetheless, I watched a lot of videos today. Well, I didn't watch, I listened to a lot of videos when I was at the plantation. Nonetheless, they were saying, it was a video where they were saying how, because the people are complaining, these low-level Edomites are beginning to complain, to throw them a bone and saying, well, you ain't got it as bad as the Europeans, the Edomites in the UK, as well as Jacobs in the UK. And to a degree, they're correct, but still, though, these people ain't trying to really hear that. So, they're trying to point the finger. And what, like the brother said, pretty much they're just stalling. So I saw this article and it made me, through the spirit, because expect more and more inflation until this thing busts. You got multiple bubbles going. You got most of these economic forecasters predicting basically a crash, and you got CEOs of major corporations, like that CEO of Blackstone that came out and said he sees it like this. So. This isn't just like the brother, I'm going to use the verbiage he used. This isn't just us anymore. Now you got major media speaking on this. You got Esau's media, you got these elites media speaking on this. So, the same media that they use to manipulate you peons that's lost in the sauce, that's stuck in the matrix, now they're coming out reporting these things about, food shortages and people starving, and it was a lot of articles the brother brought out today. So all that being said, I'm gonna bring out one by Yellen. It says inflation is to stay high. Biden likely to up forecast. So it reads Washington, June 7th. It's a day ago. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen told senators on Tuesday that she expected inflation to remain high, and the Biden administration would likely increase the 4.7 inflation forecast for this year in its budget proposal. During a Senate Finance Committee hearing, Yellen said that the United States was dealing with unacceptable levels of inflation, but that she hoped price hikes would soon begin to subside. And that's just to offer you people hope, these goofy ass people hope, They really trust in Esau, Edom, and all things, not understanding that trusting in the devil is going to basically bring your demise. Scriptures talk about cursed be the man that trusteth in man. You trusting in Janet Yellen and Jay Beasley and Donald Trump, which Donald Trump is calling for sedition. He calling for a civil war. And I think he likes being that puppeteer more than he ever liked making money. Because I forgot who made the quote, but I remember the elder Apostle Gabar making mention of it in the past, and he was saying how basically once these elites, when you've had all the money that you could possibly have, the next thing you crave is power. So that's why they get off into these depraved things of those tapes where they murder people and just like the sick acts that they commit. Because once you got once you've done all the pleasures you can when you have large amounts of money, what else can you do? So it reads, Salaki, I'm halfway sleepy. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Shah, we're going to bring this article out. It says U.S. Consumer Price Index inflation has been tracking above 8% in recent months, the highest readings in over 40 years, and well above President Joe Biden's administration forecast for its fiscal 2023 budget. And brothers in the correct spirit, we praying that this damn thing crack this year, which they already saying like this is like saying smoke and mirrors. Forecasters have literally said that this probably be the year, that this shit pop, So again, to string you people along, that's why at one of our sit downs I was thinking about it, because I was like, wow, why would they want to cause this much amount of mass death? But take the time to think about it. When these people realize they've been bamboozled and lied to, they gonna want blood. So these politicians is gonna be. Look at what they was doing in Sierra Leone and these other countries. Now, America is one of the most heavily, if not the most heavily, armed nations as far as the civilians in the world. What do you think these people are gonna do? If Sierra Leone, they was going after the politicians and they not as heavily armed, they had to pull out the military. What do you think is gonna happen? You know what I mean? So of course they gotta create a situation where these people kill themselves. They already passed an administration, but you can see, like I said again, it's getting sloppy. It says, but another metric, the core personal consumption expenditures price index, excluding volatile food and energy costs, has begun to cool, edging down to 4.9 in April. I do expect inflation to remain high, although I very much hope that it will be coming down now. She said, I very much expect it to remain high, although I hope. It's the wicked don't trust, they don't hope, they don't, they don't have faith. You got to remember this woman is a demon. I was listening to one brother bring out name and all the brother Aran from Member Ballard. That brother's going into, that's Pelosi and, this bitch here, Janet Yellen, and, what's Joe Biden's, Kamala Harris, and all these different individuals, and then sold their souls years ago to get in the positions that they got into. You know what I mean? Like they don't have remorse the way you do. That's why Obama, that Jake loved so much and thought did something for them, could sit out there and golf while the whole rest of the country was locked down. You know what I mean? Yeah, it reads. It says the Biden administration is still pushing for a scaled back version of its stalled climate and social spending agenda. Well, and they still trying to, spend more money. Yellen added that both she and the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell both probably could have used a better term than transitory. And the brother was just bringing that out like, basically, she's just basically saying, oops. These people ain't held accountable to nothing. And again, like I said, the brother brought out a scripture in Micah. It talks about how the rich are full of violence. Rich men are full of violence. So like I said again, these bankers orchestrating all this because at the end of the day, they get paid off of, war is like one of their biggest money makers. So, they fund both sides, and regardless of whoever wins, they're going to make money off of it. And, it's to a degree witchcraft, Like, it's a sacrifice, a huge sacrifice. When I said that inflation would be transitory, what I was not anticipating was a scenario in which we would end up contending with multiple variants of CV that would be scrambling our economy and global supply chains, and I was not envisioning impacts on food and energy prices we've seen from Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Yellen said. And this shit all seemed orchestrated, you know what I mean? Like the brothers bringing out North Korea, basically now they're the president of the disarmament office of the UN. Now they've been doing getting all these sanctions for shooting these missiles and shit, but they've been put in a perfect position. And the brother, well, no, it was another guy I listened to, and he made a mention of, well, just imagine, wouldn't them be the perfect people, being that their hatred for America to be the perfect troops to use to come disarm Americans? And who's to say how the Most High is going to have this work out? It's just mighty coincidental how all this is playing out, you know what I mean? But it's really not, because it was all orchestrated from the get-go. So, point being that literally this inflation is not going nowhere. It's actually going to increase. So, made me think of a few scriptures. This is the book of Habakkuk chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and I will watch to see what he will say unto me and what I shall answer when I am reproved. So, that's talking about, it's twofold, because it's Habakkuk, but it's also going into, the job of the men in his truth. We are basically set up as watchmen to proclaim and to make the people aware of the dangers coming, our people. Verse 2, and the Lord Yahweh answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables. The vision is these prophecies. And we ain't supposed to go into, we ain't supposed to be using gimmicks or whatnot. We make it plain. We break it down in layman's terms. Like the elder said at the lesson, the lesson after camp, the after camp lesson last week. He said, say it in a hood way. You break it down to the simplest form for Jake, because Jake got a short attention span. Which is the truth. It says, and make it plain upon tables that he may run that read of it, so he can get it, so he can understand it. For the vision, meaning the prophecy, is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. Salakia is the craziest thing ever. Anybody come over here asking me for help. Anyhow, back into oh, this is about to be a hell of a call lawyer like, how about you outside? I done been seeing some spiritual stuff for the last couple of days. Anybody come asking me for help though. Like back into the article, it says, for the vision is yet for a appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, and it will not tarry. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him. And that's the spirit, because like I said, this Edomite just walked up to me asking me for help. but he's not upright. This is a damn demon. But the just shall live by their faith. These devils ain't living by their faith. They got plans that they're trying to set in motion. You know what I mean? You heard what that one Edomite that's the understudy of Klaus Schwab said. Basically putting God in a box, the Most High God, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, the power, the God of gods, in a box, while they talking about they're going to be the new gods. Verse 5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine, being his philosophies. That's why they're pushing this metaverse and how, transhumanism, how they going to be the next gods. Like I said, not the next gods, but the gods on the earth, they're going to be able to enhance themselves and, upgrade themselves, And they got the nations drunk off of this, and especially our people, 2/3 of our people. It reads, he is a proud man, neither he keepeth at home, who have large of his desires as hell, because he's a greedy man, and is as death, because he's destructive. He's the son of perdition, the son of destruction. I cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe, meaning death and destruction. And woe also goes into lamentations and mourning, or lamenting and mourning. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's the scripture I wanted, because that thick clay is going into this monetary system, meaning this debt note, this fiat currency, because it's a debt-based system. So the last scripture I'm gonna get is in the book of Revelations, because when you go, it's a lock here. That ain't whatever. When you go into Revelations, chapter 6, it goes into and when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. So this is Revelation 6. And back in verse 5, because it's going into the horses, the different horses, and it talks about the red horse, which is Esau, but the black horse is Esau as well. And it says, and when he opened up the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And verse 6, and I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. And when you go into that penny, basically it breaks down to the word denarion, and the denarius, containing 10, and it's a Roman silver coin in that time. So at that time, that was a basically a soldier's pay for a day, because a soldier got paid daily back then. It's only in today's date that we gotta wait 2 weeks and a week or 2 weeks and whatnot. When you supposed to, the scriptures talk about you getting paid before the sun going down for your wages, when you work a day's wage. So basically this going into how the inflation is gonna get so bad that it's gonna take a day's wages to buy your food, and that's how bad this inflation is gonna get, and you can see it. You can clearly see it. So, expect the inflation to get worse and worse. So if you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, to the statutes, or to the commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. So like not, or I advise you to come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua before the Lord judges this place, before this place is destroyed. And with that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory to God, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Double honors to the apostles and to the elders, a great millstone who do rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing his truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akwath and the Akim out there listening and learning. Lord, willingly, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appearing like the other nations, subscribing to this truth. To you, I say shalom. This is the brother Yawasop. And with that, I want to say shalom, shalom. I'm a Wath Lababal, shalom.